Hi, I'm Figment, and today we're going to talk about a topic that I've kind of been holding off for a while. And that's because this topic is so large. It's such a, I guess I wouldn't even call it really one topic because you can talk about uses of this, you could talk about um, specific applications of this, you can talk about certain devices that control this, like the Comp 101 or the M class compressor. This is compression. So I guess what I'm saying is that this is not going to be covered in one video. Because of all those reasons, I could spend 2 videos easily just talking about the Comp 101. I could spend 4 videos talking about the M class compressor. I could spend another 4 videos talking about just the uses and applications of compression, in all of its different scenarios. Um, it could easily end up being 10 videos. It could be as long as the Subtractor series, to be honest with you. So I just want to give a little disclaimer about that. This video is not going to be the start and the finish of the idea of compression. Also, I figured I'd kind of take a step back and talk about a topic like compression or EQing. It was between EQing or compression. I just chose compression this time. And those both seem like very normal, basic things. Like if you don't know what an EQ is, you don't know what compression is, then da 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 da. But you know what? There was a time when I didn't know how compression worked at all, and I didn't know really how EQing worked, really. So I'm kind of the whole point of this channel is really just to give a foot up for all types of Reason users, new users, people just starting out who've never used a Subtractor, even to people who have been using Reason at least for a year or two and kind of have some type of footing, and then even intermediate advanced videos for people who have been using Reason for many different versions and are looking for all types of advanced techniques. So with that being said, yeah, this video is for some of you new guys, newbies, because everyone was a newbie at one point. So I try to make these videos varied. Um, so I'm just gonna give a brief kind of idea or a brief kind of wash over of compression, and then, like I said, in probably the next video, or this will be spread out among a few different videos. So just bear with me, guys. It'll all pay off. I promise. Um, so compression, like, what is it? What's the purpose of it? Why? What is it really? In a nutshell, compression is kind of a way of controlling dynamics, the dynamics of some audio signal. And let's see, I'm just gonna, this is completely off the cuff, by the way. Um, okay, so let's say you have some audio signal, and there are some notes. You know what? That works just fine. So I'm just making all these crazy notes. Right? And then you have a variation in the sound, the volume. When I use that word dynamics, I mean the dynamics in volume. We're specifically talking about volume here. Let's really give some real cool dynamics so it's all over the place. Alright, that's pretty dynamic. Okay. So you have all these dynamics. Sometimes that happens not even just with MIDI, but just with recording. Sometimes a guitarist or a vocalist or something, they may sing a certain part slightly lower and a certain part slightly higher. I just did this for emphasis, for visual aid. It may not be this dramatic, but there will definitely be a type of, or there could be, a variation in dynamics. Compression, without talking about uses, like, okay, with vocals or with drums or the bass, what it is, because that's, I guess, is a good starting point, is it's a device that controls the dynamics of volume of an audio signal that passes through it. There are many different reasons why there could be a harsh change in dynamics. There are many different applications, different instruments and stuff where things happen. I'm trying to be very kind of trying to give an overarching umbrella on this one, but compression is basically a tool you use to kind of compensate for that, to kind of make up for that. Um, you'll find some very similar parameters on compressors, although you will find different ones. I'm just going to talk about what those parameters are, or not really what they are, but I'm going to name them briefly, and I'm really going to cut this short because I want to keep this low. You're going to find, well, the Comp 101 is a great way to just, this kind of has the bare minimum of what you're going to find. You're definitely going to find a threshold, and we'll talk about that in a later video. You're always going to find a threshold in a compressor. You're always going to find a ratio on a compressor. You're always going to find probably an attack and a release, I would say, on a compressor. Um, those are just things you're just going to find, much like on a synthesizer. Any synthesizer, you're going to find an amp envelope with, and if you find any envelope, you're going to find attack, decay, sustain, release. Maybe it's attack and release or attack and decay, but you're going to probably find ADSR on an envelope. That's just what kind of what goes with it. We already talked about envelopes in the Subtractor series, but if you watch that, then you know exactly why you're always going to find ADSR. But the thing to take away from this video before we go into anything else is that compression is all about the dynamics and volume of an audio signal, and I guess you could say controlling those dynamics or evening those dynamics out so that you have a more evened line as opposed to what the original signal was. And there's a whole bunch of other reasons why you'd want to do that. A whole bunch, it's scenario specific. But in a nutshell, that's what compression is about. Now, like I said, bear with me. There's no way I could have fit, or I can fit, a video about compression in 10 minutes. Maybe not even in 20 minutes. So, just to wet your whistle, just to kind of start this off, we just want to talk about compression. There's a brief overview, and next video I will probably cover the Comp 101 since it's already here, and go over specifically the parameters, the ratio, threshold, attack, release, and I'll give you a demonstration of how that can be used. So until then, you know what I'm gonna say. Keep experimenting. Make some music, guys. And most importantly, just have some fun. And I'll talk to you later.